this prayer here. It's called Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu. Deep is your love for us, Adonai our God. Or with great love you have loved us. Note the action word love in this paragraph because it will have an important echo as we move on into the Shema itself. I'd like to ask someone to read this section out loud. Alice, please.
Deep is your love for us, Adonai our God. Boundless your tender compassion, Avinu Malkeinu. You taught our ancestors life-giving laws. They trusted in you. For their sake, graciously teach us. Our Maker, merciful Provider, show us mercy. Grant us discernment and understanding. Then will we study your Torah, heed its words, teach its precepts, and follow its instruction, lovingly fulfilling all its teachings. Open our eyes to your Torah. Help our hearts cleave to your mitzvot. Unite all our thoughts to love and revere you. Then we will never be brought to shame, for we trust in your awesome holiness, and will delight in your deliverance. Bring us safely from the four corners of the earth, and lead us in dignity to our holy land. For you are the source of deliverance. You have called us from all peoples and tongues, constantly drawing us nearer to you, that we may lovingly offer you praise, proclaiming your oneness. Praised are you, Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Right, so this theme of Ahava, love, it permeates throughout this paragraph. And it's the God who loves us, who has shared with us the laws and teachings of our tradition. God taught our ancestors life-giving laws. And that was an expression of love. It wasn't this mean old monarch in the sky sending down these random arbitrary laws to make our lives difficult. This was a loving God, a compassionate God, bestowing upon us the gift of Torah so that we can enrich our lives and help make this world a better place. It was out of great love that God did this. So the section ends with a blessing. Let's read this together in the Hebrew. If you have the Eight Ratzon, pick it up on page 50. And at the bottom of page 11, we'll read together. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Praised are you, Adonai, who chooses the people Israel with love. The translation, for whatever reason, doesn't emphasize that word bocher in the translation, although you can read about it in the commentary. So this is the closing of the second blessing. Now, real quick, gimme, thanks, oops, or wow. That second blessing.
Thanks.
Case can be made for thanks. Why thanks?
Thanks for lovingly giving us these laws.
Okay.
I will say wow.
Okay, a little bit of wow in there too.
Give us, open our eyes that you're asking for.
Okay. So there's a little bit of gimme in there. Any oops?
No.
That's a strong word, and choose us. That's a wow thing. From all the people in the world, we choose to be.
Okay, so Ezra notes that the verb bocher, God chooses us and gives the Torah to us out of love. That is really an expression of wow. Of all the things that God could do in this vast universe, God has done this, and that's really an amazing thing. So I think in the scheme of things, there's on the continuum of brachot, this is definitely more on the thanks and wow side of the continuum. And it's this blessing that leads right into the verses of the Shema itself. So we come into the Shema. This is page 112. the Shema itself is a verse from Deuteronomy chapter 6. And it includes the Ve'ahavta paragraph that follows the Shema verse. So it's chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. Then you have a second paragraph of the Shema, which comes from Deuteronomy chapter 11. And we'll look closely at that. There are significant parallels between that paragraph and the first paragraph, and significant differences as well. And then at the top of page 13, there's another passage from Scripture. It's from the book of Numbers, and this is also considered it's considered part of the actual Shema. It's the third paragraph of the Shema, and it had the central imagery in it. The central image in that paragraph is the tzitzit, the fringes that we recognize from the Talit. We'll hopefully look at that a bit more in depth, but I want to go back to the beginning of the Shema. So we have this statement. It's not really a prayer. It's not we're not asking for anything from God in this. It's really a statement to whom?
Us.
We're saying it to ourselves. Listen, Israel. Listen, y'all. Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. It's a reminder to ourselves. We're not calling out to God in this. So this central piece of Jewish liturgy is not at all a cry out to God. It's a cry out to us. It's a reminder to us that God is our God and God is one. We have some midrashim that I'd like to share with you that speak more in depth about the Shema. Remember, the Shema originally appears in the Torah, in the book of Deuteronomy. And at some point in Jewish history, it came to be part of our liturgy. And the rabbis who were instrumental in forming Jewish liturgy, they sometimes are moved to show some sort of justification for how something gets into the liturgy that they have formed. So there are two midrashim, two pieces from the rabbinic body of literature known as the Midrash. The first one is from Deuteronomy Rabbah. So I'll just read this first section. Did you all get the sheets, by the way? So whence did Israel merit to recite the Shema? So it's not just something that we have to do, it's considered a merit for the people of Israel to say this passage every day. Rabbi Pinchas ben Chama said, Israel merited to recite the Shema at the revelation on Sinai. How is this to be inferred? You find that it was with this word Shema that God first began to speak at Sinai. God said to the people, Shema, Yisrael, listen, Israel, I am the Lord thy God. In the Hebrew, the I am, is the word Anochi, which is the first word of the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments. At one point in history, the Decalogue was actually part of the Jewish liturgy and connected to the Shema. The rabbis, at a fairly early point in history, did away with us including the Decalogue in this part of the liturgy because they were afraid that Jews would say only the Ten Commandments are important. The other 603 mitzvot we don't have to worry about.